We begin in Lagos with an update on the situation in Banana Island, where a building under construction collapsed on First Avenue. According to a statement from the Director General of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Olufemi Oke, an adult male has remained unaccounted for. This is after a head count was carried out by the CSO of the construction site, Anthony Onah. Recall that Deputy Director Public Affairs Mukaila Sanusi had revealed that 5 casualties were rescued, or 5 persons were rescued and taken to the hospital, while those who sustained injuries are being treated. Earlier, journalists were barred from entering the estate, but minutes after they were allowed into the premises of the collapsed building. Officials have told newsmen that a press conference will soon be held to give updates on the outcome of the preliminary investigation. Joining us now in the news to get updates on the building collapse at the Banana Island is our correspondent, Theophilus Elama. Theophilus, it's nice to have you join us again. Earlier, when I spoke with you, you said there was going to be a press conference and that journalists were not let into the estate. But from what I can see behind you now, it seems you are inside the estate. Well, you can let us know the updates from there.
All right, Mike, I will let everyone know that for over 3 hours, journalists were kept outside the estate, not allowed in. We're told that a press conference will hold, but we were waiting to no avail and no press conference held until we had to force our way in. And of course, when we came in, some officials, of course, the general manager of the estate, tried to stop us with some security men. Of course, calling journalists out as we try to get information as regards the situation here. But with the intervention of the Lagos State, the permanent secretary of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, we had to come in, and we're all given helmets. Like you can see, I'm on a helmet. We're all given helmets to get in, and we can get here. And as you can see behind me, the forklift is at work, and of course, emergency responders are doing all they can. Earlier, within the building, within this area, we saw men of the standard organizations of Nigeria taking parts and pieces of the materials, possibly to go and have some tests. And of course, I'm aware that the members of the Lagos State Material Testing Agency are also here, and some other government agencies and emergency responders are here to ensure that they go to ground zero here. But from the statement from the permanent secretary of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, 1 person is yet unaccounted for. That doesn't mean that the person is in this rubble. It might be anywhere, but after a head count was done, the person was an adult male, was unaccounted for. We are going to still get information as regards that. But looking at the building that collapsed, it seems that the building collapsed on some other equipment as well. Just my cameraman can pan to the other angle. You see 2 trucks here that have been somehow destroyed as a result of the impact of the collapse building. Of course, the building is a 7-story building, and you can imagine the impact that this building would have, the damage that's caused on these 2 trucks that you can see there. And of course, you can imagine the impact and how it came down with a loud, thunderous noise that everybody could hear and feel. That's the situation here, of course, and we see that the government agencies are hard at work to ensure that the rubble goes to ground zero, and of course they clear the rubble. But we also know that as with building collapses, government takes over the buildings when the land actually, once a building collapses, and of course it will be cordoned, and we are very sure that on these other buildings here, because there's supposed to be about 4 buildings here, on these other buildings, integrity tests will be carried out to ascertain its strength and validity, so that we don't have another situation of building collapse and people dying in the process. Thankfully, no one is said to have died, but we wait to get the information about the 1 person that has been unaccounted for before we can solidly say that 1 person, nobody has died. But as it is right now, the information at our disposal is that work is going on here to get this to ground zero totally, and 1 person is so far unaccounted for.
All right. From the camera panning, we're seeing that some of the buildings that are still standing look alike. Is it clear that it is the same contractor handling the construction of the building that collapsed, is the same one handling the others that are still standing?
Yes, Mike, the same construction firm is the one handling the buildings that are still standing. That's Joe Faraday, is handling the construction of these constructions and all of that. So the agencies have told us that preliminary investigations will be carried out to ascertain the cause. Of course, testing will be done on these other buildings, like I said earlier, to ascertain its validity. One construction firm, Joe Faraday, handles all of these constructions here in this particular location, and so the government will do all it says it will do all it can to ensure that none of this happens again, no collapse happen again. Of course, looking at this building and coming in through to passing through to get to this point where we are, it looks quite scary because of its height and all of that. But of course, we wait the results of preliminary investigations by the government to ascertain if these other buildings will go down or they remain.
Right. Before I let you go, can you confirm that work has stopped on the other buildings that are, adjacent to the one that has collapsed?
Yes, Mike, work has stopped on these other buildings. And of course, when we were coming into Banana Island, we noticed that some other construction buildings that are other constructions too, have stopped work. Like I said, when we're outside, we were told that construction work has stopped in every inside Banana Island, and so we noticed that in some few buildings that we have to pass through to get here. This one especially, work has stopped here. Like you can see the other one at this other side. My cameraman can pan to that side where there are bamboos. Work is not going on there as well. And of course, just in front of me, there's a building just at the far front of me. Work has stopped there. So these are the things we have seen that have made us believe that the situation is being put under control. Of course, the work will not continue until all of these issues have been sorted. But I can tell you that looking at this building right here, work has stopped. No construction worker is on this site. And of course, anyone who has to come in here must wear a helmet, just like I am doing, just like my cameraman is doing as well. And of course, every journalist here and every personnel here has to wear a helmet before you gain entrance into these premises. But as you can see, construction work has stopped here. No construction worker is here except for the emergency responders putting this to ground zero.
All right, just behind you, we just saw some, can you confirm that there are security agents on the ground there? Because we saw some uniformed men passing, but we need to be sure who they are.
Yes, there are security agencies around here. Security men are here to keep the peace. We were initially at the gate of this particular premises. There was a cordon. No one could come beyond a particular level. But as journalists, we were allowed to come in. But no one is allowed to come beyond about 200 meters away from here. It was cordoned. Some major places in this area, at least these particular buildings, have been cordoned generally. So no one can come in. Security men are stationed everywhere to ensure that hoodlums do not come. Because we were told earlier that yesterday, hoodlums took advantage and came in and some were arrested. So the policemen, the security personnel around here are an indication that they want this to be done and out and ensure that no touts, no hoodlums come in here.
Right, we have to leave you here now. Theophilus Elama, thank you very much for bringing us up to speed on this.